at core community resources in Bayfield. Before we light our chalice, I want to begin by acknowledging that for those of us joining this service from northern Wisconsin, we are gathered on the traditional land of the Anishinaabe people who continue to steward this place with love and care from generation to generation. Repairing our relationship to land requires us to continually seek a more complete understanding of the histories of violence and harm that have occurred on land, including genocidal acts committed against Indigenous Black and Brown folks during the settlement of the white European peoples who are my ancestors and may be yours. Today, settler colonialism continues to cause harm, and often in more disguised ways, such as the centering of white environmentalists during celebratory times like Earth Day. Let us honor with gratitude the continued work of Indigenous peoples, including the leaders and members of the Bad River Tribe who are currently protecting the Lake Superior watershed by working to decommission and bridge Line 5. May we step back and listen, may we seek ways to act in solidarity upon this acknowledgement of stolen land, and may we use our time, money, and voice to support Indigenous-led efforts and land reparations. Our chalice reading today is a litany that Stella Banowitz, Ella Severson, and I composed using the letters and poems that we received from you all. I now ask Hayden Susky-Funk to lead us in the lighting of the chalice.
Okay, hello all. I invite you now to prepare to light your chalice with me. We gather this hour as people of faith with joys and concerns, gifts and needs. We light this beacon, calling us to our search for truth and meaning, celebrating the community we share. Our reading today is Dear Future Generations. Dear future generations, I want many things for you. Clean, cool, fresh water, and 1,000 waves rambling to and fro, slowly circling and spiraling towards truth. I dream of a world where people and planet are greater than profit, where we see nature not as something we are a part of, not something to exploit, where the earth is healthy and so are we. We care, we work, we love, and still the world we leave to you is running a fever. So I feel I owe an apology to the species that went extinct and the land that was developed for my role in the poor condition of the planet. Will you have cold, clean water to drink? Some days my grief comes as a hurricane. Some days it is a source of motivation, but today it feels like wilting. So I keep dreaming of a world where you may drink deeply from local sources meeting our collective needs, where we live to support each other. Our dear future generations, lots of steps, turns, bridges, and tunnels lay between us. But I want you to know how many people thought of you and worked for your well-being in love and solidarity. And I would invite you now to light your chalice with me. Thank you.
Thank you, Hayden, and thank you to everyone who contributed their words to that litany. Now I invite Sean Van Zeeland, a senior at Northland College, to perform his original song, Little Purple Flowers.
Hello, thank you. I'm going to play a different song. It's I don't have a name for it yet, but it's still a pretty one. But in Golden Meadows stands a child, eyes aglow and arms outstretched, not a shadow seen upon her face, dancing through the rolling hills with grace. she cried. I know you're sore, feel your warmth, and I drink your light. Lead my future far away from wickedness and greed, and guide my hand to care for you, then can I be free. Lead my future far away from wickedness and greed, and guide my hand to care for you, then can I be free. He works the field out in the sun, planting tomatoes, how he cradles everyone. The proudest that he'll ever be is feeding friends and family round the inland sea. Oh world, he cried, I know your soil, I feel your warmth, and I drink your light. Lead my future far away from wickedness and greed, and guide my hand to care for you, then can I be free. Lead my future far away from wickedness and greed, and guide my hand to care for you, then can I be free. Play the bar once in a while. Familiar faces, how I love to see them smile. Worshipping with song and dance. It's like the joy of living's flowing through my hand. Oh world, I cry. I know your soil, I feel your warmth, and I drink your light. Lead my future far away from wickedness and greed. Guide my hand to care for you, then can I be free. Lead my future far away from wickedness and greed, and guide my hand to care for you, then can I be free. We're sick of sleeping through the day. We're tired of taking, never sharing thanks and praise. So join the 7th Fire Parade. We'll spread the joy of living each in our own way. Oh world, we cry. I know your soil, I feel your warmth, and I drink your light. Lead my future far away from wickedness and greed, and guide my hand to care for you, then can I be free. Lead my future far away from wickedness and greed, and guide my hand to care for you, then can I be free.
Thank you, Sean. That was wonderful. Okay, so we are going to try something new, and it might go wonderfully and it might not. And that is, we're going to try to read in unison via Zoom. So if you want to join along in reading, you can unmute yourself at this time, and then Stacy is going to share the words, as you can see now. This reading is from the UUA's A Sacred Season for Activism and is called There Are Times by Stephen Schick. Please join me as we read in one voice. There are times when oneness speaks so loudly,
nothing
else is heard. In those moments,
I awaken
silence find immense
sense of
safety.
safety.
Assured I am knowledge
knowledge
of who I am
And
and what I can do.
it can do.
That went pretty well. Okay, Stacy, turning it over to you.
Okay, we have come to our time in our service when you are invited to light a candle of joy or concern in your life. Because we can't understand if people speak all at one time, as we just witnessed, I'm going to ask you to raise your hand, and then I will acknowledge you, and you can unmute yourself so that we can all hear you. Now, there's two ways to raise your hand. One is to physically raise your hand, and I will try to see you in the screens. Another is if you see at the very bottom, there is something called reactions. And if you click on reactions, you can click on a little clappy hand, like see me here. Now that will disappear. So I will try to see that, but you might have to click it again if I don't get to you right away. In addition, if you need to, if your sound isn't working, you can type into the chat, and the chat is located in the middle of your screen. And I will just type chat here. And so we will keep an eye out for the chat. And that way, if you send something in via chat, I can read it for you. So, these candles. I am going to light this first candle for trees. I'm going to light it for the trees in my life that have held my prayers of gratitude in their branches. From the silver maple climbing tree in my childhood backyard to the ponderosa pines that smell of butterscotch and vanilla in the Black Hills of South Dakota, to the big white pine grandmother tree near Northland College, the blossoming cherries this time of year, the sugar maples that rise to give, and the cedars, the tree of life. Thank you for removing carbon and giving oxygen, for giving home to the wildlife and the wood that makes my home. You are our caretakers. Thank you. Hello to the Jirowitz family. Would you like to share a candle?
I have a candle of joy because we don't have any more snow in our yard.
To the snow finally leaving the yard.
I have a candle of joy for a friend of ours who finally made it up from Honduras, or out of Honduras. So
Wonderful. Yes. Welcome, travelers who are able to begin moving.
And one more for my sister-in-law, Michaela, for graduating from Northland College.
We had
a mock ceremony.
Yeah.
To honor that.
Congratulations to Michaela and to all of the graduates from Northland College. I think we have a couple of them on here. And I want to mention that we are going to have a celebration of the graduates at our next May 17th service, where we will name and recognize and honor them. So please also know that that's a time where we will see you when the rest of the world has canceled your graduation ceremonies. This is one that Marina has typed in. For the waters of Superior, which has refreshed my soul throughout my life. Oh, we should light 12 candles, maybe 20 for that. Thank you, Marina. any other candles of joy or concern that you'd like to share today? Okay, Megan wants to share, wants to light a joy for Sevi's 2nd birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday, Sevi. Ooh, 2 is such a fun age. You can get into all kinds of trouble at 2. Welcome to your 2nd year, little one. Ed Callahan is lighting a candle of concern for my brother's mother-in-law who has the COVID-19 virus. Ed, our thoughts and prayers are with you and your family, and Linda, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, do I see a hand? If you would like to, just go ahead and unmute yourself. Yeah, your name on the screen is Bubba. Okay, I've unmuted you.
Hello.
We can hear you.
Oh, there, okay. We have 2 candles of joy, and the Bubba, this is Mike and Paula Bunch. Bubba was a joke for my family. But my candle of joy is for Zoom. We've been able to not only see and hear all our friends at UU, but we've seen and heard our daughter and family from England and our daughter and family from Chicago. And without Zoom, that would never be possible. And Paula has one too.
Our grandson, Max Horzak, is working in ER as part of his internship. And he's so far has not been ill at all, but he's helping those that are. So we're very proud of him. And our daughter, who had the kidney transplant, is home, of course, and she's doing fine in seclusion, but definitely needs to be secluded at this point.
Thank you to Max and all of the healthcare workers like him who we light candles of tribute to, and I'm glad to hear that he's been well and that your daughter's doing well after surgery and in isolation, and may it continue to be so. I see a message from Jackie to a candle for Karen Crowell, whose aunt passed on Friday. Karen, let this candle signify thoughts and prayers for you and your family, for your Aunt Helen.
What's that? Heavens.
Let's see. I have so many screens to look at. This is so great. We have 61 people joining us today. Is there anybody else who'd like to Mary Raywald, please?
Am I here? Can you hear me?
We can hear you, Mary.
Great. Well, I'd like to light a candle of joy and concern. I'm very excited because this wonderful family is renting my house for the next year. And they're moving up from Racine, and she's going to be the principal of the elementary school here in Ashland, and her husband works from home, and they have 3 kids and a dog. And I'm very excited about that, and because my house has been on the market for 1 year. And my concern is I have a whole bunch of furniture and things left that I have to get out of there in the next 5 days. And if anybody wants any of it, you should contact me. And my number is 682-4662. Also, I've been hesitant to ask for help in moving because we're all sheltering in place. But if anybody can think of a way to do that, that would be great. I have 3 big pieces of antique furniture and a few mattresses to move up into the attic. And they're coming on the 2nd of May, which I think is Saturday, this coming Saturday. And so give me a call if you think you can help. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you for asking for help. I completely understand that it's hard to do right now. It's hard to do in general. And I'm really, really happy to hear that there's some resolution and peace, that your home is rented, it's a year, and that you don't have to worry about it, I guess, for during this hard time as it's on the market. So candles of joy and concern, because moving is hard work. And so we will see if we can get some folks to help.
Thanks.
We have several people come in on a chat. I see a concern from Riley. Riley, go ahead.
My godmother, I think next week, she's 6 weeks from retirement. And she's a nursing home inspector for the state of New York, and she just got, she was informed that she has to go back to work to make sure that all of the nursing homes are staying safe with COVID. So I'm worried about her and all the people that she'll be with. So.
Thank you, Riley. It's great to see you. And that is scary. I mean, the nursing home situation, all of us who have loved ones in nursing homes, who have loved ones working in nursing homes, it is something to definitely light candles of concern for at this time, and to pour our hearts and love into those places, because that is a difficult space right now. Todd Rothy and family, they are lighting a candle. They don't say if it's joy or concern. I'm guessing it's just a little bit of both, but I'm gonna say it's mainly joy. Oh, it is for joy, I'm sorry. A candle of joy for small farmers who tend the earth while and feed the community. This has been such an amazing gratitude that I think we've all experienced, is for our local farmers and our access to food. When people on the East Coast are paying $8 for a pack of eggs, and I just got the most beautiful fresh spinach from the Duke Kelly Great Oak Farm the other day, and what a joy to have those. Emma, a candle of joy for all of the art our friends have shared with us, like the candle chalice behind Janice, from our friend Jean, and other bits of art around our house from friends near and far. It feels like love surrounding us. And on that note, I just want to light a candle of joy for this banner behind me as well, which is this beautiful art that the UU Youth put together in 2017. And it's just so inspirational how they made a heart that goes on the earth, and their fingerprints in Lake Superior, and the ways that art remind us of our interconnectedness and the beauty that we can create. So cheers to everybody, and to Sean, who found a way to be outside for an Earth Day music performance. Extra special art on that one.
I'm not actually outside. This is just a fake picture.
It's a fake picture. Yeah. How did you get such a good internet connection outside? Oh, okay. All right. Well, hey, it's a great fake picture. And Arlo Hartman, and I'm guessing also from Ashley and folks, candle of joy for spring paddles at Bark Bay Slough and time with the family. Rob, Ashley, I'm so glad to hear you got out paddling, and that is inspirational. I should go to Bark Bay Slough. That sounds wonderful. And Lindy, good morning. For the miracle of our little nubs appearing in the warming soil when during the winter there is no sign of their survival. I know it's always a little bit of a miracle, isn't it? That spring comes and it's like, they made it to the little nubs showing themselves and their endurance through the winter. Okay, is there anyone I missed that has had their hand up? Okay, I don't see anyone, so I will light one more candle for all of those joys too private and those sorrows too deep to share that we say in our hearts. And take a moment to reflect on those during a minute of silence.
We have now come to our children's time, and so I'm going to pass it over to Deb Aaron to read a special story for us called One Child, One Planet by Bridget McGovern Llewellyn.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? I don't know how to come into the main picture here.
It's working great, Deb.
Oh, okay. All right. I have the book, One Child, One Planet, and I'm going to read that today. And this is also the photographs are by Carl R. Sams II and Jean Stoic. And the book is for those who shall inherit the earth. As sure as the sun will shine, as sure as the moon will glow, we need earth and earth needs us more than we'll ever know. What is earth, you kindly ask? Why is it something I need? The answer is simple, my child. Earth is home to the air we breathe. Earth is an ideal environment for people, animals, and plants to live together side by side in peace and perfect balance. So far as scientists know, Earth is a special place. As mankind's favorite planet, we should treat her with kindness and grace. Greenhouse gases protect our Earth like a blanket in the sky. This keeps our planet's climate right with temperatures not too high. Though we need some greenhouse gases, we don't want levels to grow. Earth's climate can change and get warmer in places that need lots of snow. A bit of trouble lies ahead. Climate change needs our consideration. We tend to waste power and resources. It's time for conservation. Earth so big and me so small. Oh, what good can I do? Funny you should ask, my child. The world's been waiting for you. There's been talk about going green, the most beautiful color we know. If we don't go green in all we do, we may see less ice and snow. Think we wouldn't miss the snow? The Arctic climate's too cold. We need some freeze to tame the high seas and protect our glorious world. Without icebergs and Arctic air, ocean levels and temperatures climb. Penguins and polar bears lose their homes. Coastal beaches recede over time. We say go green, you mean go white. Save the ice caps, prevent global warming. Go green, go white, go rainbow of colors. The movement is soon to be swarming. Three big favors Mother Earth asks: reduce, reuse, and recycle. How can I make a difference, you ask? Explore ways to change your lifestyle. Water, a most precious resource, vital to all living things, is something that shouldn't be wasted. Don't let it run down the drain. Whether bathing or brushing your teeth or washing your hands, which we need to do longer now than ever because to stay healthy, or dishes, try doing so with less water. I'll save it for the fishes. Trees promote healthy living by cleansing the air we breathe. They take out carbon dioxide and provide oxygen so clean. Earth's tall trees bear many gifts, cool places with breathtaking views. To properly care for healthy air, we replenish by planting anew. Paper can be recycled. We can use both front and back. Send email greetings instead of cards. When shopping, bring reusable bags. We can each save electricity by turning off lights in the house. Limit time on electronics. Play outside. Get off the couch. Help your family recycle things like paper, plastic, and glass, bottles, cans, and outgrown clothes, fallen leaves and clippings of grass. You may have some items here and there no longer of use to you. Someone else might find them nifty. Usefulness can be renewed. Simplify. Buy less stuff while shopping at the store. Buy just what you need. Squash any greed. Do you really need any more? Most importantly, young and old, we must be keenly aware of the awesomeness that surrounds us and treat it all with care. For if we all work together, each of us does our share, we can make our space a happy place by keeping clean our air. Just like Mom likes a clean house and we wish for a tidy room, Mother Earth prefers a wholesome place so all creatures can fully bloom. Though conservation seems a challenge, it is not beyond reach. It's easy if we work together at home, around town, and at the beach. Enjoy Earth's wonders every day. Her beauty will spark a smile. Plant a seed or a tree. Love your plant, a lifelong project, and so worthwhile. And after this service, maybe you and your family can think of some things you can each do that will be beneficial to the earth. And I know many of our UU families already do many things, but let's try to think of some new ideas on this Earth Day. Thank you, and have a wonderful rest of the spring and stay healthy.
Thank you, Deb. I will now invite Tommy Lewis to read their original piece, Causeway.
Thanks, Denise. This is a part of a reflection on some time I spent working with the trail crew on Isle Royale. The causeway is perhaps the most demanding of all trail building features. It starts with muddy, sloshy goop that squishes and squooshes and holds your boots in a thick snag and just ruins the hike. We didn't pay for this. So we dig a trench to drain the sludge, mucking out that too far gone to rehab. We are protecting people. We spread far and wide in an elaborate search party for rock and stone. Small ones won't do, not yet. So we use heavy steel rock bars to pry the ancient stones from the nests they've formed in the soil. We roll them onto a rock net. These are much too heavy to haul alone. And teams of 2 to 4 work together to lift, drop these stones one by one, inch by inch to the mud zone. We collect dozens. We arrange them in 2 parallel lines, digging them into the ground and chinking them into place to make sure they never move again. We go out again, this time searching for smaller rocks to fill between the 2 lines. This is to be the foundation, the solid base upon which people's treads won't erode the earth. We are protecting the land. Once the smaller rocks are arranged in perfect Tetris symmetry, we crush those remaining into gravel and pour that into the seams and gaps. To make the gravel, we use a 10-pound sledgehammer and a lot of angst. The final step is to top off the raised trail with soil, but not just any soil will do. We go off into the woods, far enough to be unnoticeable from the trail, and use the mattock side of our Pulaski, peeling back the duff and topsoil, its leaves and roots and rocks. It's black and fertile and rich, not good stuff to build a trail. We go deeper. With a spade, we cut down into the red, the clay, and hoist it out into buckets and onto tarps. Digging graves, we call it. We take the clay to our rocky structure and pour it on, filling in all of the remaining gaps and leveling the surface. The clay forms perfectly to the mold and sets in place. We stand back and admire our work. This is a job well done. This is a trail maintained. This is a wilderness preserved. Thank you.
Thank you, Tommy. Our message today is titled Dear Future Generations, Community Dialogue for Earth Justice, and has been dreamed up and coordinated by Stella Banowitz, Eller Severson, and myself, with the support and guidance of Stacey Craig, to whom we are very grateful for. When we began planning this service, someone had shared a quote about the parable of the choir as a metaphor for social movements. The quote reads, "A choir can sing a beautiful note, impossibly long, because singers can individually drop ounce to breathe as necessary, and the note goes on." end quote. We need each other to breathe, to rest, and know that our song will carry on. Aside from an anonymous Twitter account and an anonymous blog writer, we are unsure exactly who to give credit to for this parable and metaphor. I like to think that maybe it was the choir themselves and not an individual voice who shared this lesson with us. Today you will hear 5 people read their letters to those who gave us songs to sing, to those who will carry our songs after us, and to those who are singing with us. Our first reader is Marina Lachecki. Marina was a senior in high school when she participated in the first Earth Day. She worked for an environmental coalition after college and then the Sigrid Olsen Institute. Throughout her life, she has written about sharing a love of the earth, including teaching kids to love the earth, with 3 other homeschooling parents. She has lived her life alongside the shores of Lake Superior. Your turn, Marina.
Okay. Dear friends, it has been 50 years since I joined many others in honoring and celebrating and fighting for respect for the earth. I was a young adult, having been raised by gardening grandparents and camping and fishing parents, a cadre of aunts and uncles who loved the waters and trees and plants and animals of the North Country. In my youth-filled exuberance, I thought I was introducing the concept of recycling to our home in Duluth, Minnesota. My mother listened with kindness and patience and then said, "We were doing this since World War II." A lesson in humility and in ancestral perseverance had been given. I, like others of my generation, fought with letters to legislators, research to support a conviction of caring for the earth, lifestyle changes to limit the impacts we had on her resources, and a recognition that we are all connected. Earth and water and air and fire and rocks and plants and trees and animals and birds and fish and insects and all the vast number of invisible critters lying beneath my feet and in the waters in which I waded. As a young adult, I committed my life to Mother Earth. Clean water bills, air legislation, the Wilderness Act, the National Environmental Policy Act, coalitions of environmental organizations, organic farmers and tribes mightily fighting for the rights of all that was created. My partners and I created homes respectful of our part of the global environment. We raised our children like we were raised by our parents, to live in love with the earth. I continue to march and witness and write and teach. My careers carried a message of honoring the earth and caring for her. With the hope as an environmental advocate, the commitment of a young parent, the work of a teacher and lover of the earth, and as a pastor on a sacred Lake Superior Island for half of my career, I believed we could turn the world around. But today, I find myself weeping at the destruction and disrespect that pervades. I find myself in a fear-filled awe of the garbage, the slaughter, the disregard we continue to create as a human species and inflict, despite the best of our intentions of many, despite the strengthening cry of a new generation of warriors for the earth. And so I pray. I pray to create a space for ancient wisdoms and innate love for the planet to return. I pray for wise and compassionate choices as a human species. I pray for ancestral warriors for the earth in gratitude for their service. I pray for my generation that we may still offer voice and talent and treasures to frontline warriors. I pray for this new generation of people who love the earth and are willing to lay down their time, their talents, and their treasures. We are all one family. All the created are brothers and sisters. I vow to continue to fight for my family. Blessings and hope to all of us.
Thank you, Marina, for carrying the songs of your ancestors to us today with your life's dedication to caring for the earth and all Earth's inhabitants. Our next reader is Abby Fergus. Abby moved to the Shawamkin Bay in 2018 after working with the Bad River Tribe Mashkazibid Natural Resources Department as an intern the summer before. During her internship, Abby worked in the sloughs and forests of Mashkazivy and held conversations to understand the relationship livestock owners and tribal citizens hold with Maingan, the wolf. Abby now works as a wildlife specialist for Bad River and is pursuing a master's education in promoting carnivore coexistence by supporting small livestock farmers with non-lethal deterrence, husbandry recommendations, and by serving as an advocate for them to government agencies and academia.
Hello everyone, thank you so much for the invitation to be part of this. This is my first UU service, so it's been awesome to experience what this group is about. I'm going to share some writing from a blog that I started to try to start talking more about the water up here and what we're all working to protect. This is for all the people who have felt heartbreak, doom, paralyzed, ashamed, guilty, overwhelmed because of their relationship with environment, ecosystem, climate, Mother Earth, Aki. Maybe it feels like more of a lack of relationship sometimes. I want to speak to the shame I see carried by a lot of people when it comes to our relationship with the key, the earth. I want you to know that you should not feel like you are a sickness to the biota and beings, from the water to the trees that you share environments with. It does not matter what percentage of your waste you get recycled or composted. It does not matter how much water you manage to conserve if you have access to water at all. You deserve to cultivate belonging with the earth and to see the flourishing life that results for yourself and other beings. We live in systems that separate us from our natural ecosystem. Some municipalities have laws against collecting rainwater or keeping small livestock. Recycling and composting is often guarded by bureaucratic and economic hurdles. I want you to know that you can have a relationship with the natural ecosystems around you to the point that you have a belonging with them and help them to be healthier. You don't need to be a good scientist by Western standards to do it. You don't need to have grown up with access to the outdoors or even a yard, but I'm sorry if you didn't. You don't need to be able to afford to hike in the middle of nowhere in a national park on stolen indigenous land. You don't need to be able to afford to shop at co-ops, but I hope you have a local one and that it makes itself accessible to you. None of that is what belonging with the earth is all about. There's dandelions coming up, and their greens bring a medicinal bitterness to your soup or a bite that reminds you that you're alive while you eat your salad of quieter tasting greens. Their roots can be roasted and ground into a coffee straight from Aki, the land you dwell on. It does not need to be shipped from the tropics. Violets, mints, nettle, chives are all waking up as well and can feed you medicine and meal if you take some time to learn about them and to tend to them. These are stepping stones. You'll learn and feel so much from foraging your first meals and medicines, and you'll fall in love with this way of belonging with Aki, the land. There's a paradigm shift at hand. It would be remarkable for humans to not learn from this moment we're living with the COVID-19 pandemic. It's been time to get off our current trajectory and onto a good path. To do this, we need to challenge and shed messages we've been reared on, ones that separate us from the land. We need to decolonize our minds to move forward. I want you to know that it makes sense that this step might sound overwhelming. For example, everyone knows what it's like to combat those negative voices in your head that are planted there by the way we're all socialized. It takes a lot of energy. But I also want you to know that it's a path of healing that will make your life richer. You'll end up forgetting how hard it was to take those first steps. 2 years ago, I moved to Anishinaabe Waki, which means Ojibwe land in Anishinaabe-Bowen, because I got a glimpse of a different way to exist during my internship with the Bad River Band. I hardly knew anything about Anishinaabe treaty rights or how to feed myself off the land. But today I realize how blessed I am as I look around at the food and medicine and teachings in my life. I really wish for my loved ones to experience this too and to be able to care for themselves. But I know where many of us come from and how often we are separated from the land. And no one knows this story more about losing relationships with the land than the native peoples of Turtle Island, including Anishinaabe. The first step in decolonizing our minds for a better life is learning about the people whose land you were on. I grew up on Potawatomi or Potawatomi land and then moved to Ojibwe land. Something I've learned from Anishinaabe friends is the way to be humble and open. When I've listened to Anishinaabe share stories, thoughts, and ideas, I've often heard them start by saying that they are here to share the truth in the good way, the best that they can. But if they make any mistakes, they will learn from them. That's what I take away from those words that I've heard. And this lesson has helped heal me from this paralyzing fear of making a mistake. And this lesson to me celebrates mistakes as opportunities to learn and grow. It's not about making a mistake and reliving it in your head and not being able to sleep. It's about having the bravery to act in some way and knowing that whatever mistakes you make will actually just be new opportunities to grow. So all of this is to say that I really want to share a message of healing and hope and connection to the land. And thank you for letting me take this time.
Thank you, Abby, for reminding us that we do not have to be a certain way or meet prescribed expectations to be in right relationship with our key. Our next reader is Emma Holton. Emma is graduating from Northland this May with a degree in water science. She is a dancer, thinker, and lover who looks to water for guidance to heal our hearts and deepen our relationships.
Good morning, everybody. And I just want to extend the gratitude to everyone for sharing the words so far. Okay. Dear being who may sit in this spot in the times yet to come. Right now, I sit facing the lake my heart belongs to, and I'm wondering if the water ever has or will change its tune. Will you hear the softness in what we call crashes? Could our hearts ever sink with it? Did they once? Will you swim where I sit, and do the trees in any way anticipate the lake's rising? I think it's easy to see why we romanticize the earth, why we hold on so tightly to how we've known it. Because I really hope that you see what I see, that when you see it, not a whole lot has changed. I want you to see the way the lichen and the lake are slowly digesting the railroads, the fence posts, and the unidentifiable metal objects. A modern-day ecotone where industry's ghosts meet the unbuilt freshwater coastline. I think it's beautiful. I return to the small beach again and again. The black sand that covers it reminds me of the ashland that could have been Chicago. It is bookmarked on one end by a far-reaching tree held together at its base by moss-covered detritus, and at the other end the old railroad track. Small birds swoop around it, and the first aquatic plants of the season have washed up on shore, adding an electric with life green to a neutral tone landscape. I feel like I'm being held gently here. It feels familiar. Still, I wonder if my grandpa, who also had the Northwoods printed on his heart, would find the same sort of beauty in it that I do. It's amazing how we have the ability to connect to people gone from us now, from the people who walked here once before, through landscapes. We feel the pulse of them in the rocks and the flowers beginning to pop up in the rain that falls. When I dream hard about being a bird, I am transported into the crisp air of a winter night soaring down the middle of the street in the fully extended arms of a family friend who I'm convinced was an angel on earth, but who too soon became an angel somewhere else. When the lake opened this year, I had butterflies in my stomach, but I think they doubled when I thought about what it must have meant for the people who could return home again. I think about how it must have felt to come into the apostles for the first time, being suddenly enveloped by the tiny bits of north woods growing out of the water. How many beings has this beach held gently like this? Many, I hope. I love this earth, but I'm learning more and more to love the multitudes of it. All of the earths we have known and all of the earths we have yet to know. So instead of hoarding the idea of this view for you out of love, I'm going to work to find ways to put love back into what's in front of me now and believe that you will see your own beautiful here. No matter the tune of the water, I hope you still hear it as a love song. Thank you.
Thank you, Emma, for sharing the multitude of Lake Superior tunes that your heart sings. Our next reader is Ella Severson. Ella is a high school senior at Lake Superior High School who is passionate about social and environmental justice. Ella is the Schwamigan Hub lead for the Youth Climate Action Team and interim outreach coordinator of 350 Schwamigan Bay. In her spare time, she enjoys creative writing and being outside. You can read her work at ellaseverson.weebly.com.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today, for listening, and for sharing your words and your joys and your concerns. I'm going to read a letter today called Letter from a Climate Striker. Dear elders, this is a letter from me, a little girl with big ideas, a newcomer to activism, to advocacy, to speaking up. This is a letter to you, the ones who came before me, who paved the way for me, who stand beside me even now. This is a letter to say thank you to those few who saw the truth, who listened to the scientists, who marched in the streets. I thank you for canvassing for Greenpeace, for campaigning for Al Gore, for composting before it was cool. I thank you for continuing to speak truth to power, for fighting the mine, the CAFO, and Enbridge Line 5. But this is not only a letter of gratitude, but a letter of introduction. You tell me that my generation gives you hope because you see us rising up to pick up where you left off. But we're not picking up where you left off. We are building something new, something ours, and our revolution will be led by the leaders of the future. Many times, as a person who has only just passed the threshold of adulthood, I am told that because I am young, my words do not count. That because I am in school, I am not educated. I am told that because we are not entitled to a vote, we are not entitled to a voice. That because others have lived in this world longer, they have more right to speak for its future, my future. I am told that because I haven't yet learned my lessons, that because I haven't yet accepted that life's not fair, that because my spirit has not yet been broken by systems of oppression, that because I have the impudence to hope, that because I have the courage to speak truth, that I am naive. These words do not always come in so straightforward a sentiment. They come when I look around the table and see no one else my age, when adults apologize for the state of the planet without any real action, and when I am told that everything is going to be okay. When I hear these words spoken in 1,000 instances of well-intentioned microaggression, I shrink, uncertain of myself, reluctant to fill more than the space afforded to me. But these words, while stinging, are only a fraction of the sentiment I feel about this crucial intergenerational work that we do. Let me tell you a story. It was summer, and under the heat of the June sun, looking over the lake I love, I knew we needed something big. I knew we needed to join the world in a September strike, and I dreamed of the event that we, here in the Schwamigan Bay, could contribute. Knowing that I couldn't do anything alone, I braved a room of adults and began attending citizens' climate lobby meetings. Eventually, I voiced my dream in one such meeting. It was Ted Griggs that answered me, sharing in my sentiment and standing at my side, believing not only in my dream, but in my leadership. He lent his support and guidance. He braved to be the only adult in rooms of youth. He trusted that we knew the way. I found many others in our community that shared my dream, including my friend and our next speaker, Stella Banowitz. And eventually our conversations grew into a march and a rally. Our dreams were realized in a turnout of 400 community members and a litany of powerful words from youth speakers.
I felt empowered to speak up. I felt energized to make change. I felt gratitude for my community, and I felt hope for the future. TED has stuck with me, continuing to support the charter school students in our weekly climate strikes, though now they have shifted to social media. This February, the League of Women Voters joined one of our weekly strikes on their 100th birthday. Like TED, they believed in our dream, and they showed their belief in our leadership by joining our movement in solidarity. This is what I'm asking of those who share our dream, a dream of a livable planet, of clean water and air, of sustainable and just communities. The way to make this dream reality is to unite behind youth leadership. I am only one person, and by the time my whole generation will be able to vote, and long before any of us could run for president, we will have passed a tipping point. Power is held in a hand reluctant to open, especially for those who are women, people of color, LGBTQ+ folks, indigenous peoples, immigrants, or youth. It is the gift of those who wield the political power of age to help share their power with youth by believing in their dreams and in their leadership. If anything, this pandemic has shown us that when people come together in response to a crisis, radical change can happen. We are all needed in the fight for climate justice, and I am so grateful that we are not alone. Because a choir may hold a note forever if it has enough voices, so that when one is silent, another sings. I am grateful to you that you have held the note this long, and I'm excited to sing this song with you. I know that the knowledge of experience lies in your hands, but let me come to you and trust that I will. Uplift my voice and trust that I will know what to say. Share your power and trust that I will know what to do with it. Follow and trust that I will lead. Join us and trust in the movement. Act and trust that hope will follow. Persevere and trust that change will come. Thank you.
Thank you, Ella, for singing a new song with a new generation of activists while joining the choir of those who have come before you. Our final reader is Stella Banowitz. Stella is a senior at Lake Superior High School who is passionate about making this world more equitable and more just. She is a co-coordinator of the Shawamikan Youth Climate Action Team. When she's not working towards a more sustainable future, she can be found enjoying time outside, probably writing poetry or sketching her surroundings. Next fall, Stella is planning to attend Warren Wilson College to study journalism and social justice.
Thank you, Janice. This is a letter that I wrote to just activists in general, and it goes like this. Dear fellow activists, this is a letter from a girl in rural northern Wisconsin who has a vision, insurmountable passion, and a drive to change this world. I am like you in the ways that count. Like most activists, somewhere along my path, there was a moment where everything clicked into place, and I knew that my life would never be the same. That moment was 505 days ago. It was my last night at Conserve School, where I just spent the best semester of my life learning, growing, and preparing to take action. Per Conserve tradition, we gathered at 5 Corners, the intersection of all trails on campus, to say our last words before the semester officially ended. I remember looking around at the faces of the people that had become my second family, and all prior doubt that change wasn't possible left my mind entirely. I was left with an unwavering hope that shines as bright as the candles we were holding. I knew that the life I had once lived would never be the same again, and I didn't want it to be. From that point on, I was confident in my purpose and grounded in the knowledge that I wouldn't be fighting alone. I will always be connected to people by a common belief that we will make this world more just, more equitable. The emotions that I learned to channel into my work still lie under my skin, which is why I need to be very real with you about something. Sometimes I feel like this problem is too big, our efforts too small, and I'm angry. I am so angry. I'm mad at the capitalistic greed of the 1% when they, along with the rest of the system, have jeopardized our future. Due to inaction, we have been handed uncertainty, and a problem that our lives depend on finding the solution to. I am mad that that we are told that our passion brings older generations and people in power hope, when we have no other choice but to act. I am angry that in 2020 we still have to fight systemic oppression. I am angry that every day someone suffers while our president goes golfing in Florida. I learned a while ago that anger has both the power to heal, to hurt, and to heal. It matters more what I do with it. I need to tell you something else, because you're the only one that I think will truly understand. I'm scared. I'm scared because people are protesting the stay-at-home order, while every day millions lose loved ones. I'm scared that we will be cursed with Trump for another term. But you know what scares me the most? The fact that for years, the public has been screaming about our changing climate, and yet the majority of our world leaders have turned a blind eye to our outcry. Sometimes it feels like no matter what we do, this climate is still changing, our oceans still rising, our chances of securing our future are lessening. Us, in the middle of this crisis, with a solution, and yet few listen. Fellow activists, sometimes I feel overwhelmed by the state of the world, but then I remember that the best way that I've found to combat that feeling is to take action. Every time I sign up for more training, go to that meeting, take on more work, I feel like I'm a part of something larger than myself. It gives me hope that something is changing. To quote Bernie Sanders, not me, us. This movement is for the people, the youth, its leaders. Change is coming. There is a revolution rippling under the surface and now rising above. We, together, you and me, along with the rest of our generation, will change the world as we know it. When our names appear in history books, the greats will write that we are the generation that fixed the problems that never should have been ours to solve in the first place. I would like to leave you with this. You have within you the strength, the patience, the passion to reach for the stars, to change the world. Harriet Tubman. Every single one of us is reaching for the stars, with a vision for the future. Hold on to that. And when you need to be reminded that you are not alone in this fight, read this letter. Thank you to those who have held the note until now, and thank you to those who continue in this fight, in power and solidarity.
Thank you, Stella, for your vision of a future where more and more join in chorus to sing a new song. Together, we carry our songs from generation to generation. The beat will change, as will the path towards justice that we take. The lyrics will be revised to include new or previously excluded voices. New instruments will join in tune as we develop new tools to accomplish the work ahead of us. We may not always agree on what to hold on to and what to let go. Our choirs will fall out of harmony again and again as our differences conflict and challenges arise and change unfolds in numerous ways. We may break into various choirs and sing separate songs to find the tunes that are uniquely suited for each context and purpose. Our songs align from place to place, from generation to generation, joining in a chorus, singing rounds that echo and echo, reaching out further than we can know. We fall out of alignment, then realign, while learning that maybe it is all right to be misaligned. We move from choir to choir throughout our lives, shaping the sounds of each place we become a part of, while allowing ourselves to be shaped by each place. Each harmony is made up of the uniqueness of our voices and our talents. We are altos and tenors, sopranos and basses. Some of us were altos, then tenors, and maybe now are basses. Some of us are an alto in one song and a soprano in another. Some of us, like myself, have no clue how to hit a single note, but we are invited to sing along just the same. There is something about the typically off-pitch tunes that we sing each service as we gather in the Albert Theater that makes me feel at home in this fellowship. It really does not matter that we are not the perfect choir. It does matter that we do not have to be the perfect choir to be the community we have gathered here to be. It matters that we keep singing with joy, regardless of whether or not we are in tune. What we have heard echoed today is that the love we hold for the earth and the love that we hold for each other is an unconditional love. I hear elders who have done their best to sing our songs speak with empathy to the grief they feel for a future that is not their own. I have sat with peers and partners in the intimate silence that comes after the acknowledgement that we do not know the pain and suffering that our lives will be witness to. It is not easy to keep singing in times like right now, when it feels like our song is just a prayer in the wind amidst a tornado that has no end in sight. It's not easy to take that breath and trust that others will carry the note, to trust that there will still be singing once the tornado has passed, to trust that it will always sound like a love song, and to trust that we will love the earth and love each other regardless. Our closing song is My Roots Go Down, performed by Oleana Jarowitz. As you learn the words, we invite you to sing along while keeping your microphones muted so we can all hear Oleana.
Thank you. Also, my sister will be accompanying me with singing, so yeah. My roots go down, down to the earth, my roots go down, down to the earth, my roots go down, down to the earth, my roots go down. I am a pine tree on the mountainside, I am a pine tree on the mountainside, I am a pine tree on the mountainside, my roots go down. My roots go down, down to the earth, my roots go down, down to the earth, my roots go down, down to the earth, my roots go down. I am a willow singing storm, I am a willow singing storm, I am a willow singing storm, my roots go down. My roots go down, down to the earth, my roots go down, down to the earth, my roots go down, down to the earth, my roots go down. I am a wildfire reaching for the sun, I am a wildfire reaching for the sun, I am a wildfire reaching for the sun, my roots go down. My roots go down, down to the earth, my roots go down, down to the earth, my roots go down, down to the earth, my roots go down. I am a waterfall singing home, I am a waterfall singing home, I am a waterfall singing home, my roots go down. My roots go down, down to the earth, my roots go down, down to the earth, my roots go down, down to the earth, my roots go down.
Oh my gosh, that was so good. I didn't know you played guitar, Oleana. That was amazing. That was amazing. We have come to our time of offering, and I'm just speechless. I hope that this service gives you hope, and I hope that you want to just keep supporting this amazing community that comes together and does this work together and supports this consciousness and earth care and love and appreciation and awe and wonder that we have heard about today. So thank you for your support. Thank you in any way that you can give. The website has a donate button. You can send Ed Callahan, our secretary, checks in the mail. There's information in the newsletter about doing transfers. But I want to ask you a special way of supporting and offering your voice and yourself to this choir. Janice is going to tell us about this Letters to the Earth project that they've done, and that there's still time to submit your letter. And I know it's a hard time to do anything right now, but I ask you to take that deep dive and think about, could you lend some of your voice to this choir that we heard today? And I just want to say how inspired I am by their work.
Yeah, so we had originally planned to hold space for us to enter into dialogue with each other and speak our truths and listen to stories. And we're still hoping to hopefully hold space for that conversation to, figure out what this whole choir metaphor stuff actually looks like when we're in the room together talking about it. But for now, we invite you to still submit a letter or poems or something else completely different. There's a form with the kind of like a prompt that you can follow that will send down again through our zine and through our channels of communication, the news blast, and that we're compiling into a zine, which is kind of like a magazine. And we're not really sure what the deadline is going to be yet for submitting stuff. We'll just see when they come in. But you at least have a few more weeks, probably till the end of May. And then we have kind of like an art project to go along with it that we'll provide more details about later. And then I'm just going to pass the Zoom talking piece to Abby one more time to just let folks know how you could submit something to her water blog that she started as well.
Thank you. So I started a water blog, and maybe I can get it out to you guys via email. Is there like a big email listserv that?
Yeah, we can put it in the weekly email blast out to everyone.
I will let you keep an eye out for that, because the website name is in Anishinaabe-Moan, and it is probably just going to be hard to remember, but it's called Ganaway then Nibi, which means protect water. And I'm just inviting people to join me in writing anything related to water protection. My focus has been writing as myself as a community member about the Line 5 resistance, but it's going to only be more beautiful and powerful to have a lot of other voices, and I put it together because I wanted to make myself start writing and connecting with the community about this, but I also started it to hold space for others to do the same. If you want to email me, it's just abigail.fergus@gmail.com, but I'll work to make sure all that info is in the newsletter.
Thank you, Abby. I now invite Oleana Jarowitz to lead us in extinguishing our chalices. This litany was also composed by Stella, Ella, and I using the letters and poems that we received from you all.
Okay. As we extinguish the candle, remember that each of you is the living light. Carry the beacon of love and justice in your hearts and into everything you do. Our final reading is Dear Earth. Dear Earth, we love you. We love you as lakes turn green and hills a dusty brown, as a ladybug crawls across a stone and an ant tickles my leg. More and more as we grow up, we love you. With sights to see and mouths to speak, we love you, we scream, but it feels like nobody's listening. Our generation screams for change. We scream with rage, we scream with love to those who can do something, yet don't. We speak with gratitude for people who have sacrificed and worked and given so much to clean up toxic water, to prohibit toxic practices, for planting zillions of seeds sprouting this season, for the sunshine, sustenance, the squishy moss. We love you, Earth, because you help all things, because you make plants grow. We love you, Forest, because your reaching encourages my growth, because we like to hide in you and climb your trees. We love you, Lake Superior, because you have a lot of cool rocks, because we can dive and dive, learning to breathe, learning to go deeper. We want to protect you, Earth, because we love you, we are you, and you bring us home. We love you, Earth. And I invite you to extinguish the chalice.
On this very special Earth Day celebration, when we cannot gather in fellowship together, let us gather today in fellowship with the greening plants, the budding trees, the singing birds, and the blooming daffodils. Whether it's by sitting next to a window, walking in town, or going on an Earth Day appreciation hike, be in fellowship with all of your neighbors that you can touch today. Thank you so much to all of our participants. This was truly phenomenal, and thank you for sharing your honesty and your truth and your hopes. Let us end today with our blessing, and we offer that to one another. I'll invite you, if you'd like, to put your left hand in your right hand and touch your thumbs together. It kind of forms a heart. You can let that rest at your center. And our blessing goes like this: may love abide between me and thee while we are apart, no matter how long, one from another. Feel free to unmute yourself and join me. May love abide between
me and thee,
while we are
apart,
one
no
from
matter
another,
how,
no matter
one from
how long.
No matter how.
Happy Earth Day, everybody. And thank you so much for joining us.
Great to see you.